Hey guys, what's going on? It's Blake Ruffino from Are You Serious Sports. And this AYS Short is brought to you by the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vicnair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
I was waiting for it.
You was waiting for it. See, I'm getting a little bit better at hitting the timing of it. You know, I've been practicing. You know, you're practicing for spring camp. I'm practicing doing this. It's just absolutely amazing. But my brother, what's going on tonight, my man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I just had me some crawfish, and I'm feeling really southern. I'm feeling Louisiana right now.
Okay. So listen, it's okay if it's the first time that you've ever had crawfish, but is this the first time that you've had crawfish since you've been in Louisiana?
Not my first. This might be like my third or fourth time.
Okay. What's the experience like? How much do you love the crawdads?
Oh, I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. Only thing is, man, I had to learn how to like take off the tail and do all that. You know, I wasn't sure what I was doing for a while, but today I learned how to do it for real.
We're going to, so Mike, during the summer, during the break, when you're on break, we're going to put you through crawfish training camp, okay, on how to peel crawfish as quickly and fast as possible. But nevertheless, you're going to be a pro at it.
That's all I need. And, I learned that, and I can say I'm really from Louisiana.
Absolutely. Well, you're the adopted son of AYS, so you're already from Louisiana. So, we love that. We're loving you joining us, Mike. So let's talk about that. Look, very quickly, we were just talking about NFL free agency. Deshaun Watson, obviously the biggest thing, but so many big things are happening. You got Devontae Adams going to the Raiders. I mean, this is so wild, Mike, what everything's happening. But I want to get your perspective on this as a guy that's, looking forward within the next year to go into the NFL draft, combine just happening. When you start seeing all this stuff, because I knew I was never going to the NFL. I was too Rudy Poo. But for you, when you see stuff like that, does it make you sit back and think to yourself, like, man, this is really a business? Like, do you take it in like that?
Man, so as I kind of got into college, and I like was around teammates who ended up going to the NFL. Like when I first started, I didn't think it was much of business. I thought it was the game. Like, you just go out there and play, But like seeing stuff like this, it's really crazy to know, like, you can really have to pack up your bags and leave immediately, and it's all for the sake of, these teams trying to win games. And so like essentially it all is football, but the fact that like, so much stuff can change that you really necessarily don't have control over, that's when like my mind is kind of shifted more into the mindset of, it truly is a business, and it's crazy to me. It's like crazy to see, but at the same time, like I'm excited to at least be in that atmosphere. I'm living all the college up. I'm loving my time. But I do think it would be very interesting to see, just how it is.
Mike, I think it is extremely interesting because, look, if you have a family, if you have a wife and you have kids, and then all of a sudden you're in sunny Los Angeles, and then you got to live in snowy Buffalo. I mean, now look, Von Miller just did it, but he's also getting paid $120 million to fly out there. Let me tell you this, Mike. If somebody wants to pay me $120,000, I'm going up to Buffalo and freezing my big ass off. I'm just letting you know that right now. But it's just so wild how all this happens. And look, I think it should show college guys that are going into the draft just how much of a business all of this is. And hopefully that does, especially with how crazy this stuff with Deshaun Watson is going as well. Starting LSU linebacker Mike Jones joins us. Mike, we've been seeing a lot of hype videos about you guys out there. I know that I quote tweeted in complete fandom about you. I saw the great form. But, Mike, it really does seem like there's a little bit of a difference here, like you've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. What have you seen from the team from just a season ago until now, and how good things are going so far this spring?
Yeah, man. Things are going great. And, I wasn't able to do spring with the team last year. I was finishing my school up at Clemson. But, I've been around a lot of springs, at this point. And I love, like, the way we're training. We got such a competitive group. And I like the way that they made us do it, too. So, like, now, like, a lot of our competitions are all broken into, like, our accountability teams. And so when we get out there, like, my team, we coming to win every time. And, like, so that stuff all drives we is mad passionate, mad competitive out there. I know guys seen the tug of war. My team ain't won a tug of war yet. We haven't.
Okay. We did see that. Now, Mike, you're talking about your team. Who is on your team?
Man, I got a big group. Let me try to see. I'll give you the big body. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, I'll show you our big guy. You know what I'm saying? You got to think, like, teams got offensive linemen. I went for more of a speedy group. Like, my big guy is Savion Jones. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
So when we get to things like tug of war, we might not win. But when we race, we run.
It's over. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got a lot of dudes. Me, of course, I pick as much as the backers as I can. Guys love to get a back because we the smart ones, we the good ones. But
okay, shots fired. Shots fired at the O lineman, but okay, I love it. I dig it.
And looking back, I wish I had an O lineman just for tug of war because we would have some points if we would have won.
I mean, you pretty much could have put the rope around Anthony Bradford and just tell him to stand there, and y'all would have won. Yeah, I mean, you know that, correct?
Absolutely. That's an easy win.
Very easy win, but it looks fun. Look, Mike, I mean, you see these things all the time, and it obviously brings, and on a serious note, it brings out the competitor in you. And speaking of competitors, last week, we had a lot of fan questions, and I know that's something that me and you talked about off the air, but a lot of fan questions about when you're competing. And, I always think about the opponent that maybe got the better of me the last time, or a team that got me better the last time. But for you, is there somebody that you've played in college, high school, not so obviously you're not in the pros yet, but who is that guy that is just probably the best that you've ever gone against since you've been in college or high school?
The best? Now, see, that's a tough question, because, like, if I look back at, like, 2019, the year LSU won it, if I'm just looking at game management and just taking over a game, probably Joe.
Okay.
Probably Joe. But I wasn't out on the field like that, I was behind Isaiah Simmons still, so at this point, I was watching the show and running down on special teams. But so if I'm saying just guys I've watched, it's Joe. But also when it comes to watching, and I've got to play against them because of practice. But, Trevor, both of them guys, dog, the way they just manage, it's like, man, it's like you can be in a game with them and have your plan for them and just, like, they will not let none of that happen. Like, it's not even like the fact that you're doing anything to stop it. It's just like they're putting their guys in such best positions to, win the down, win the play that, it makes it hard. But I would say, yeah, the one that I got to play against, probably Justin Fields. I'm not going to lie. He let it loose on us. There wasn't much we could do. And, handled the game. I mean, we took a big shot, like, late in the third quarter. I think he might have broken his ribs and came in throwing touchdown still. I was like, bro, this dude doesn't stop.
Well, if memory serves me correctly, you got an interception on your boy, and he had only thrown one interception the entire season. Take us through that play.
So, yeah, man, I can actually get real deep in this. I've watched it a good little bit of time. So, yeah, man, I remember we're kind of like, we might have been in the red zone. We were in the red zone, and I know I just had a tendency whenever they would get into this, like, bunch type formations. A lot of teams, they I know for me, like, I was expecting to at the top of them, we're gonna get a 7 cut. I'm gonna get a sale of a freaking corner route by one of them. And so I was like the flat player, and I saw the bunch. And so automatically I'm already thinking, you know, they're probably going to try to hit that 7 route. And so they hiked the ball. I don't even remember what ran. I don't remember who ran what, but I know I had one guy come out to the flats, and he was trying to, and I mean, at least from what I would think, you know what I'm saying, they're trying to pull the flat player down so they could kind of throw it behind them. We ran a cover 3 concept, and I just kept sinking, you know, instead of like running down on my man, like this dude's open, but I know it's going to be one behind me. So I'm like kind of like playing it like sideways and like shuffling like with my back against the sideline so I could go either way. I can break down on this one if he throws a short one, but I can also turn and try to help, you know, if he were to throw the corner. And he threw the corner, and I honestly, I wasn't even, like, when I caught the ball, like, I wasn't even looking at it almost. I was like, oh, it's in my hands. Let's go.
How long did it take for you to realize that you just caught the pick? Like, was it instant? You know, or we were like, you know, what? Well, I'm going to leave that alone. I'll tell you what I was thinking off air, but like, was it an instant reaction? Like, oh crap, I got it. Let's go. Or did it take you a second?
It didn't really hit me. Like, I just caught it, you know what I'm saying? And I was out, like, almost out of bounds. Like, I caught it, like, like, got my feet down and stepped out of bounds. But then once I stepped out of bounds, I get about the rip, I was like, hey, I just caught a pick. Like, I turned up after that. But in the moment, I was like, oh, well, like, I'm like locked into the game. Like, I catch it, like, you know, step out of bounds, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. But yeah, in the moment, I definitely was not thinking that. I was not thinking about that at all. I was thinking like, yo, did he catch the ball? You know?
Right. Well, I think, and I'm pretty sure it was against Chris Olave, who might be the first wide receiver taken in the NFL draft this year. So when you're meeting with teams at the combine, say, yeah, hey, remember Chris Olave? No real big deal. Just caught a pick on him. No real big deal. Justin Fields. Oh, that guy. Give him like a fake little laugh, you know. Just say, yeah.
See what I did to them guys? Like, I'm hitting him with that.
Hey, Brad, did you see what I did to Chris Olave over there? That's something I would do. And you know what they'd say? Like, Blake, you were playing Madden. You know, like that's what they tell you. Mike Jones joining us. Mike, we do have a lot of questions firing in here for you, but Blake says on Facebook, #AskMike, how much of an impression has Brian Kelly made so far? I mean, obviously, Mike, we see the videos, we see the hype videos, but tell me if I'm crazy. It feels to me that his attention to detail is just locked in. But your impression so far in the last couple of weeks since y'all been getting to know more about Brian Kelly?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that is, you know, really big for him, man, is the attention to detail. But you know, made a super huge impression, man. Like, you can tell, you know, whenever he got here, you know, whenever it was time to do his stuff, it was like a 180. All right. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like different from what you've been doing, and it's different even from what I did at Clemson. You know, still a lot of the same similarities. But it's like, this is his show now. Like, this is how we're gonna do things. You know, and all of it is freaking player-led, you know, like led with the mindset of graduating and led with the mindset of, you know, winning championships. You know, they put, you know, got the guys, leaders of the team, and, you know, put them over their team, you know, and then immediately, like, all the focus went from, you know, being like a team thing to, you know, helping these guys, help the leaders, you know, get them in the right mindset so they can lead their team. You know what I'm saying? While also still, like, you know, being like structured, but like it's like guys have their own autonomy too. But, you know, you could just tell the difference. You know, he's made a super big impression. You know, it's been interesting for me to watch, you know, and see, like, you know, what's more important to this guy. Like, I've seen a lot of different coaches now, like with him, Sweeney, Coach O. You know, it's interesting to see, like, you know, what's important to these guys. But yeah, absolutely, man, huge impression. Like, it's almost like he's like a politician. I feel like he's convincing you every time he talks. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, you're right. Like, every time he talks, I'm like, yeah.
It's funny you say that, Mike, is because he has a history in that field. Google it, find out about it. It's very interesting. He never was a politician, didn't do anything, but was a part of a campaign one time, which is really interesting. You say it like that and you not really knowing. But it's very interesting you put it like that because, you know, his family was, you know, involved, and obviously being a kid, and if your family's in something, you know, like if your family's a baker, If your dad's a baker, you're probably going to be baking when you grow up.
Yeah,
You know,
facts.
so it's really interesting that you say it like that, because Brian Kelly, you know, you kind of grow up, Mike, in the environment that you're in, right? Like you kind of learn from your parents, you learn from your mom and dad. And so it's interesting you bring that up. So I would say, you know, that's a very interesting comp when you say it like that. Rick says, hashtag Ask Mike, in your diet routine different in the spring during training than in the season? Any hacks? Now, Mike, I was obviously a little bit different probably than what you were. I obviously tried to gain as much weight before camp as I could because I knew it was coming off. For you, are you about to, or are you of the same likeness and mindset on that?
Yeah, not as much game weight. I kind of like try to like, change my body up a little bit. I want to slim down a little bit, but at the same time, I am trying to build as much muscle as I can. You know, one thing that's different from like in the season versus now is I'm trying to like take in so much protein right now. Like they've given me, I got a pack of protein shakes in my fridge, and I just got another one like a couple weeks ago. I'm like, dang, like I don't need this much. But in all reality, I do, and that's one thing. Like I never knew. Like even from Clemson, even last year, I didn't realize that I hadn't been get as many calories as I needed, to really maximize, and build as much muscle as I can, And so, and that's one thing that is different from the season. I feel like right now, you're building, and then when you get into the season, it's maintain and stay healthy, and you're still, doing the same things, but it's definitely, not as heavy meals, at least for myself. I try to play lighter and play fast, but not as heavy meals. I'm probably eating a lot more vegetables, just trying to stay more on the healthy side instead of, trying to get freaking jacked right now.
My best friend, and you, Mike, I'm not a slim guy. I'm a very, shout out to the fat boys out there. But he used to do keto, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of keto. It's like high protein, but a lot of like veggies, not a lot of fruits, but just, and he would eat like, those bags of vegetables you could put in the microwave and like serve. He would eat like the whole bag of that. And then like 2 hours later, he was like, he's starving. But I'm like, bro, what are you doing over here? My big butt has got a thin crust Domino's pizza. Shout out Domino's. 3 toppings, I might add. This is not a paid promotion for Domino's, I might add. But I'm like, but you say that, and it's just such a discipline, right? Like it's such a discipline to be able to do that. And I think it's interesting, Mike, with how college football is going, that you're able to come on here and talk about that. And you just talked about, obviously, hey, man, I got more protein in my fridge than probably any human being that the normal human being does, obviously, in America. The Golden Boot Pod, our good friends, Pooh Bear, Ant, and all of them, says, hashtag Ask Mike, if you weren't playing football, what would you be doing next in life? So, Mike, what is, what football's always going to come to an end, whether you're Tom Brady, which maybe it might not for him. He's eating too much avocado ice cream. Go ahead. What you gonna say on Tom?
Oh, I was about to say, yeah, he might be playing forever. He really into that keto stuff.
Bro, the dude's eating avocado ice cream, Mike. Like, how horrible of life, like, does it have to be to eat avocado ice cream?
That's torture. If somebody wanted to torture me, sit me down with a pint of that and watch me cry as I eat this.
Or give me
agony.
Give me a whole thing of sherbet, like or the frozen yogurt. Like, oh, this isn't really ice cream. And I'm like, just give me the ice cream, But regardless, he might play forever, but most people don't. What do you want to do when football's over with?
That's interesting. That's an interesting question. Partly because I don't know, I know, like you said, it does end, but I do like being around the game. And so I'll probably say if I could just choose where I live, man, I'd probably try to find somewhere I can go train high schoolers and youth, maybe like, coach a little youth football team. But one thing that was big for me, and that is always going to be big for me, as I continue my career, is trying to, really influence the youth. I feel like there's a lot of guys like where I'm from that if they would have had the right voice in their ear, probably their situation would probably be really different from where they are right now. And everybody knows like take care of their business on the field. Everybody wants to be a great football player, But I feel like it's never really emphasized, especially like in some places more than others, like the importance of education. Like, and I'd like to be a voice to, like, just help guys, be able to deal with it all, like holistically. Like, your family struggles, like, I can help you with that.
Right.
Your
Right.
school, I can help you with that. I did all that. Of course, the football aspect of it, I can help you with that. I feel like that's just something that's just been missing, and it's hard to do. I completely understand, why guys struggle with the things they do. Man, it's hard to do. But if I could choose my life, I'd like to, be able to help my community or wherever community I'm at, in that aspect, because there's a lot of talented guys that, just didn't have the right mindset to, achieve the goals that they want to achieve.
I don't mean that. I know we joke around a lot, but that's pretty deep, man. So I kind of want to. I want to lean into that a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, that's interesting. You say that because a lot of people, that are in sports want to go back into doing stuff like that because a lot of people, and I'm not saying I did, but single mom household. I mean, there's a lot of things that you want to get back to and give back and what you want to give back.
Yeah.
Mike, do you think, and I don't want to get into, faith and all that kind of stuff, but like it put everything is for a purpose, and that's what you want to be there for. And that's what LSU and what these schools can give to you and going into the NFL. And then do you ever think about life like that after? I mean, because look, when you go into the NFL, you're going to have a lot of downtime. Like you could be doing this a year from now. Like, do you think about all the transitions that you possibly are going to have to make, and you could be able to do that within the year?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I know God didn't give me this ability just for me to go out and ball, and make some money, That's something that, I mean, it's been big to me for a while. I seen a lot of it, like, with my own face. I seen guys that was a lot better than me, that just kind of just faded away and, just faded on the wrong track. And I'm like I know if they just had like I had my dad with me, and my dad, he was a big voice for, my whole community. But it's hard for one dude to do it, you know what I'm saying? And it
Correct.
wasn't a lot of guys like that, like my dad. And so yeah, man, that's been big for me, and it's something it's super important to me. I will get this done. I got some things that I for sure want to get done when I go to league, and can try to help make the world a better place, and at least try to start where I foot at. I feel like a lot of times, like, people, like, they want to change things, and it's hard to, like, really feel the change when you can't see it directly. That's why I want to go into my own community, and watch it. I want to see people's life change in front of my face, and so that's something that's big for me, and I am going to do it.
It's big you saying that, brother, because not a lot of people have that kind of mindset. When I was 21, 22, if God would have given me your ability, I don't know what I don't know what would have been happening. But God does things for a reason, and that's good to hear. Mike, last one, and actually we're gonna close it out with you, and we're gonna end the show. Just stay around with us right after we're done here. But this last question.
Oh, yeah.
So when you see the schedule and you look forward into it, is there any, and I know we talked about this last week, but we kind of got a little off sidetrack. Is there one game that you're circling that you want to see, because look, you got a lot of pieces that are coming back, right? Is there one game in your mind that you just like, hey, we should be hitting our stride by this game? Or are you of the mindset like, hey, we need to be hitting our stride by Florida State and being ready to go?
Man, the way that I did things, especially how we did at Clemson, man, by the time it's the first time we're ready for the first game, I feel like the best teams, man, they get out on the stride. It's really important to me. And of course, that doesn't define your season at all. The first week does not. But I feel like the best teams, when it's time to go,
that's ready.
You'll see they're the best, and a big part of that also was maintain. A lot of teams start out hot, but I feel like, at least for myself, you got to start your best football early. That's the difference between the teams, man. And them teams, they start here, and as the season goes, teams start losing games, teams get upset. But the best, they start here and they keep going up, and so